What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hello, everybody, and a very happy Sacred Sunday to you. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and welcome to World Unity Week, Day 2, and of course, welcome to the Awakening World. I am so honored that we get to weave together different elements of our great global peace tribe today. So I want to briefly share with you what's going to be taking place, and I want to invite everybody, let us know where you are geographically. Pop it into the Zoom room. Now, for today's show, every 3 months as we enter and prepare for the next season, we are blessed to have Abigail Spinner McBride join us. And she does an amazing job of through music and mirth and legend and just kind of helping us prepare for the new season. For those of us up north, we're about to go into summer. And for all of our friends down south, of course, we're going to be going into winter. It's also day 2 of World Unity Week, and one of our absolute favorite beloveds, Chief Phil Lane, is with us. And we love Brother Phil. He's, of course, a regular on The Awakening World, and he has invited 2 of his most beloveds to join us. And we're going to get to meet Donna Johns, and we're going to get to meet, and he's back again, Chief Reuben George. And they're going to share with us all about how this incredible prophecy is coming to fruition. And as always, we have our beautiful beloved brother Omashar with us. He'll be providing some music in addition to the wonderful music that Abigail's going to provide. So it's going to be a wonderful show. I want to acknowledge that a lot of you are watching on Facebook because we are blessed to have the Sign Network that puts us out to over, sometimes as many as 200 Facebook groups and pages. So if you're watching us on Facebook, that's awesome. You may also be watching us on our newest broadcast partner, the Conscious Awakening Network. Welcome. We also are with Humanities Team, lots of YouTube channels. Thank you, Alan Steinfeld. Thank you, Steve Farrell. However you're watching us, if you're not in our Zoom room, come on into our Zoom room. That way you can interact directly with Chief Phil and Abigail and Omashar, and it's easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, and you will see how to kind of learn all about who we are. You can get a free copy of an amazing book, Activating Your Soul Tribe. And then what you want to do is click where it says register for the new season. And when you register for the new season, you're going to get the links to all of our Zoom rooms for all of our shows. We do 3 or 4 shows every week, and every show is dynamic. For example, on Wednesday night, we had a wonderful show honoring and celebrating the Juneteenth holiday with people including Oscar-winning actor Louis Gossett Jr., joining us live, Pato and Antoinette, whom we love, Piper Dellums. And then last night's show, the kickoff celebration for World Unity Week. And then, of course, this is the show that you're seeing today. So please do join the Global Peace Tribe. You'll get your Zoom room links right away, and then where you can come on into the Zoom room and join us. All right. I am now going to turn it over to someone I have such great love and respect for. He is truly one of our great spiritual leaders. Of course, I'm talking about Chief Phil Lane, who's going to lead an opening invocation.
Yes. Well, Midaki Epi, I want to extend a very, very, very warm and loving handshake to each and every one of you. And especially, I want to be so thankful that I'm sitting here on the traditional lands of many nations that passed over these very places I'm sitting, the Winnebagos, the Omahas, the Yahanktawa, the Santee, the Pawnee, and so many others. And I want to honor them at the bottom of my soul, because I think it's so important that wherever we are, we know where we're coming from, where we're standing. And remember, we're standing on the sacred memories of so many beloved ones that have gone before us. And I want to also give from my beloved sister, Diane Longboat, her heartfelt regrets. She will not be able to join us today. She's going to try to make the end if she can. But one of her beloved family members passed on to the spiritual world, and they're having the funeral this morning. And as we know in our Indigenous communities, we have a great, great honor for both those at the sunrise of their life and those in the twilight of their lives. And so when a soul leaves our community, we know there's no death, just a change of worlds, but we also know that a great loss of feeling that we cannot touch that person in this world of time and space. And so this is something we really, really regard as in a deep, deep way. As you know, both Donna, Toja, Donna, and my son Ruben will tell you, in our communities, when something like this happens, everything stops. So I thank you so much, my beloved sister. Your spirit's with us here, and I know that you're with us in spirit. As well, Adriana Alvarez is over in Montreal, and this great gathering is going over there, furthering the union of the condor, the quetzal, the eagle, and hummingbird. And they're having some internet issues, but I think that the great internet spirit we'll pray that works out. But whatever happens, it's going to be a great, great program. We are now in the day that shall not be followed by night. Otun Kashlawakantaka, creator of the universe, most beloved one, all powerful one, most kind one, most compassionate one, ever forgiving one. Oh, ancient of days, oh, blessed beauty, remover of difficulties. Let's give thanksgiving in this beautiful, beautiful solstice. This time of change and transformation. This time of stillness. Let's give thanksgiving. We give thanksgiving for all those relatives around Mother Earth, particularly remembering today all our elders of the indigenous peoples of the Americas, who, despite a loss of 100 to 108 million relatives to 15 or 20, mainly through disease, but through colonization, genocide, and so forth, that we are becoming, growing stronger than ever. And we also want to acknowledge that we're so thankful there is no death, just a change of world. So all those relatives are here with us as we pray. And all relatives, our human family, are here as we pray. And all of us are members of one human family, and all of us will awaken sooner or later. We're all indigenous people of this Mother Earth, and as so have a responsibility in the depths of our soul to ensure that our Mother Earth, as is womankind, not abused in any form, shape, or way. And Tunkashla Wakantaka, on this beautiful day, we give thanksgiving and send our love and prayers to all the tribes of the nation of the east from where comes the red sunrise, and ask them to join us on unifying our human family through the union. The condor, hummingbird, quetzal, and eagle. In the Kashlawa context, we call upon all those tribes in the south, from where comes new life, the springtime. We're also sharing this sacred time with us, just opposite in terms of winter, summer. And we call upon those relatives and give thanksgiving. This is the time foretold to unify, to stand up. We have nothing to fear at this time, for our Creator is walking with each and every one of us in this very short time and space we live in. And Kashla Wakantaka, we call upon all those tribes and nations of the West from where comes thunder, lightning, and rain, and call upon those spiritual powers of thunder and lightning and rain to awaken our beings. Have us understand each of us as a sovereignty, ancient and perishable and everlasting. And to humble ourselves before your holy power. We call upon all the tribes and nations of the north where comes thunder, lightning, and rain. To the north, from where comes the beautiful white snow, the north winds to purify our hearts and minds. We give thanksgiving. And Creator of all good things, we give thanksgiving that you're the ever forgiving. No matter what mistakes we make, we continue to pray. We continue to have faith. We know that you are the ever forgiving. In Nikashla Wakantaka, we give our honor and respect to Father Sky, in a symbolic way to mankind. Different cultures define what masculine qualities are, but one thing we do know is that the masculine qualities of our human beings that all of us have together have become way, way overbalanced. And we ask forgiveness for all the things that have been done, and that we might go forward without any abuse of women, of men, of children, of all those who we love and adore with all our hearts and souls. So we give thanksgiving in this matter. And in Kashawakantaka, we call upon all the power of our Mother Earth and give humility before our Mother, and ask that no matter what, we live to see the day where she begins to come back. For we know that Mother Earth's not sick, we're sick. And so let us heal ourselves together and give thanksgiving for all that has been given to us in this so beautiful life, and give thanksgiving for our mothers who gave us forth from their beloved birth, our beloved birth. And Creator, finally, I just want to say that all those good thoughts we have today, all those good feelings we have today, may they echo throughout eternity and awakening all beings that this is the time. And we will see many wonderful things unfold during this World Unity Week, and all good things. And I want to say this prayer of unity to close these prayers. Well, I seem I have some music in my background, but it's a nice song. Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal unto them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps with the light of knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper in the Lord. Haulimichante washtelo, shunkmano meado, chinupasapa meado, haulimichante washtelo. My names are Shukmano and Chinupasapa, and I stand fully responsible for all my words and my actions. And I'm so thankful. I can't even figure out where this noise. Oh, here we go. Coming from here. Oh, wait. So, Mitaki Epi, we've opened our hearts and minds up. And we have a special sister with us today. That's going to, and there you are. How are you this morning?
Oh, so grateful. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And our dear, dear sister, Abigail, has made it one of her life's pursuits to have us understand about a solstice. And so with bated breath, we are awaiting your beautiful sharing. And so happy to meet you.
So happy to meet you too. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement.
It's my last day here, and so I'm on my checklist of where are you going? I'll write it down.
I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. I'm living here in Las Vegas, and this is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Southern Paiutes, or the Numu people, the Washoe or the Washeshu people, the Northern Paiutes or the Numu people, and the Western Shoshone or the Newe and the Hualapai tribe. I am grateful to be on this land at this time with all of you. Part of what I like to do is to have you sing along, so please keep yourselves on mute, but do sing. Scott's gonna put some lyrics into the chat for you. Beyond all signs and all systems, vibration flows through all traditions. God is sound. God is sound. Beyond all signs and all systems, vibration flows through all traditions. God is sound. God is sound. If you hear harmony, sing harmony. Mystic rhythmic repercussions evoking all these life productions. God is sound. God is sound. Beyond all science and all systems, vibration flows through all traditions. God is sound. God is sound. Friends, it is such an honor to be with you here and now as we approach this time of summer solstice together. The word solstice comes from the Latin word solsistere, which means sun stand still. And indeed, the sun does seem to stand still at this time as the sun reaches its furthest point from the equator. Summer solstice is the longest day in our hemisphere and the shortest day in our friends in the southern hemisphere. But here, this is a time when warmth spills upon the land and fruitful bounties are enjoyed by all creatures. In the northern hemisphere here, the summer solstice will occur exactly on Wednesday, June 21st at 7:57 a.m. And many people will be celebrating this longest day and shortest night. Summer solstice really is the time of the beginning of the end of summer, because from this moment forward, after 7:57 a.m. on Wednesday, June 21st, the light begins to shorten. Traditionally, this is a time for celebrating fertility, what is blossoming, the potential for a good harvest. So at this time, I invite you, if you would like, put in the chat something that is blossoming for you, something you are grateful for. And as you do that, please join me again as we welcome the magical elements of air, fire, water, and earth. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. I am the air around you. I am the breath of life within you. I am the wind blowing through you. I am all that I am. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. I am the fire around you. I am the spark of life within you. I am the flame burning through you. I am all that I am. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Behold, there is magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. I am the water around you. I am the pulse of life within you. I am the ocean flowing through you. I am all that I am. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. I am the earth around you. I am the heartbeat within you. I am the ground below you. I am all that I am. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. I am spirit around you. I am divinity within you. I am the light shining through you. I am all that I am. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Behold, there's magic all around us. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. Awaken, rejoice, and sing. Oh, thank you. Such a joy to be able to share music with you on this beautiful time of solstice. Solstice is a time when we pause between the inhale and the exhale. It's a time when we pause between the exhale and the inhale. And so I'd love to share just a few moments of a breathing meditation with you. This one is called Breathing the Six Directions. And I invite you to sit upright but deeply relaxed, so your whole body can expand and contract as we move together on the tidal flow of the breath, constantly moving. The retraction on the exhalation always brings us back to our center, while the expansion on the inhalation moves us outward through the 6 primary directions of front and back, up and down, left and right, and then all at once. So we begin by taking some slow breaths in, feeling the expansion from the front body and the back body on the inhalation, and the return to center on the exhalation. Beautiful. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in, feeling the filling in front and back. A pause at the top for solstice, and breathing out again. And once more, breathing in, filling front to back. Breathing out, returning to center. Good. Now this time as we breathe, we focus on the side bodies, allowing the side ribs to expand on the inhalation, filling up side to side on the inhale, returning to center on the exhale. And again, feeling that side body open and expand, pausing at the top and releasing, relaxing towards center on the exhale. One last time, breathing in and breathing out. Excellent. This time we breathe in and we fill top and bottom, breathing all the way in, filling the lungs all the way to the tips that are under our collarbones. Exhaling, relaxing, returning to center. And again, breathing in, filling all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, all the way down to the pelvic floor, pausing at the top, And releasing, relaxing on the inhale. Once more, breathing in just like that was perfect. And breathing out. And for the next 3 breaths, we fill all 6 directions at once. So breathing in, filling front to back, side to side, top to bottom. And breathing out just the same. One more time, breathing in, filling all 6 directions. Pause for a moment at the top. Breathing out. Last one, breathing in, filling all 6 directions. And breathing out. And just notice what is happening in your body right now. Notice what you might be feeling in the tips of your fingers or the top of your head. Notice how quiet the mind gets when we bring focus to the breath. This meditation is yours. You're free to use it, to share it as you will. If it is useful for you, I am grateful. When we begin from this place of breath and of gratitude, we open the way for beautiful things to happen. And solstice is a time to acknowledge the beautiful things that are happening. So while I reset here, Scott, maybe you could share a little bit of what folks have been sharing in the chat for what they've been finding beautiful.
Absolutely, Abigail. And let's all just twinkle Abigail and send her some love for this beautiful start to our show and to the new season. And yeah, there's been a lot. George Norble writes, my increased awareness. He's grateful for that. He's grateful for his increasing power of manifestation. Melinda writes, I'm also grateful that I healed enough and now have art back in galleries. Congratulations, Melinda. Dora is grateful for all the love and beauty in her life. Grace is grateful for love, connection, and community, and for the hope and possibility that we all bring. Eleanor Joy is grateful for this most wondrous community. Yes, Eleanor Joy, I'm grateful for our community as well. And Eleanor Joy is also grateful for her new loving relationship. And I assume that's with her beloved Ian, who's sitting by her side, and I'm looking at you both right now. Belinda says, I have gratitude for experiencing the beauty and joy of the new world that is unfolding. Yes, there is an awakening world that is unfolding. George is grateful for friends and civil communities, health and healing abilities. And Olivia is grateful completing a first draft of stories from the Sunray Peace Village with gratitude and love and appreciation to all of those who shared their stories. And more coming in. I'll just read 3 more. Susan says, thank you, Abigail. She's grateful for you. Roger is grateful for the Global Peace Tribe community. And Janice Hall is grateful for her ever-expanding tribe of beautiful beings working with on the transition team of this new earth. So there's just some of the gratitudes that have come in, Abigail.
So lovely. So lovely. Thank you, Scott. It does my heart good to hear what you are grateful for. One of my favorite poets is from the Sufi tradition. Rumi wrote, all religions, all this singing is one song. The differences are just illusion and vanity. The sun's light looks a little different on this wall than it does on that wall, and a lot different than this other one, but it's still one light. For this next song, we honor the earth, the sky, time itself, and the light within us all. Oh, mama, mama, oh, mama, mama, oh, mama, mama, oh, mama, sing. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. The earth is a circle, oh, mama, ma. The earth is a mother, oh, mama, ma. The earth is turning, oh, mama, ma. The earth is dancing, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. The sky is a circle, oh, mama, ma. The sky is a father, oh, mama, ma. The sky is turning, oh, mama, ma. The stars are dancing, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. The year is a circle, oh, mama, ma. The seasons are a cycle, oh, mama, ma. The year is turning, oh, mama, ma. The seasons are dancing, oh, mama, ma. Come on. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Put your hands up. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Yeah. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma, mama. Oh, mama, oh, mama, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. Last time. Oh, mama, ma, oh, mama, ma. 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 Feeling that vibration reverberating within your body.
So beautiful, Abigail. So
Thank you, Scott. It's such a pleasure to be able to share my music with all of you. I'm so grateful. You know, this is the time, we're approaching the time of summer solstice, and we know that the sun is the ultimate source of fire and of light. Like all sources of light, the sun shines brightly and spreads all around the world. Even as it gives its light and power to each one of us and to all life on this planet, it is never diminished by the sharing of that energy. The sun passes over us each day in the never-ending circle of light. There is a poem by another Sufi poet who I adore named Hafiz, and he wrote, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky." Thinking about the sun, thinking about the light that happens over the whole sky, thinking about how every sentient being that looks out through their eyes or through their senses and thinks, "I am," perhaps it's all the same I am, the same great spirit that animates all of us. And I think in these times of conflict and division and chaos, it's important to remember what it is that we share, what it is that we can all find true. And so for this next song, I invite you to sing with me, "We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, here and now." This is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, here and now. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, here and now. This is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. This is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, here and now. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, here and now. This is what is real, I promise. This is what is scientifically true. The sun, the stars, the universe, they all burn brightly and live inside of me and you. This is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, right here and right now. Oh, this is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. We are one with the earth below, and one with the skies above, and one with the heart of love, right here and right now. This This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. This is what is real. This is what is true. The sun, the stars, the universe all live inside of me and you. We are one. Ah, we are one. Ah, we are one. We are one. We are one. Ah, we are one. Ah, we are one. We are one. One heart, one soul, one mind, one planet. One heart, one soul, one mind, one planet. One heart, one mind, one soul, one planet. We are one. We are one with the earth below. One with the skies above. One with the heart of love. Here and now, one with the heart of love. Here and now, one with the heart of love. Here and now, here and now. It's always here and now. We're always here and now. We're always one right now. Breathing into that feeling, breathing into that knowing, the knowingness of the oneness that we are, that we share. Feeling our bodies expanded with our breath, feeling the vibrations of the sound reverberating within us and around us. Filled with gratitude at this moment, this precious sun standing still moment in time. Asking for blessings for all those who see and all those who hear. May your harvests be bountiful. May life send you beautiful blessings that you don't even know are already coming to you. May you have all that you need and plenty to share with those you love. May your fathers be blessed, and may their fathers be blessed, and may their fathers be blessed back beyond 7 generations. And may our mothers, our sweet mothers, be blessed too. And may our children carry the blessing. Thank you all so, so very much. Scott, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to share time and space with you all.
Abigail, it's such a blessing. You bring such a beautiful vibration of love and reminder. You're helping us through your words, through your music, to remember the truth of life. And I do want to encourage people. She has a wonderful album that's available on Bandcamp.
That's the new one, yes.
That's the new one. I have to log in, so I'll do that. Well, I think I can do that quickly. There we go. Because I want to follow her. This is her new album, A Pagan Magic Ritual.
Yep.
And I put the link into the chat box.
Thank you. You can also find me on Spotify, Apple Music, all your streaming services. I love it when people listen to my music. I love it when people share my music. So thank you. Thank you for sharing it, Scott.
I've also put her PayPal, and I just made a donation to her PayPal. And if you all feel inspired, let's definitely support her. And I want to read just one message to you, Abigail. There have, of course, been so many comments that come in, but I think Dorina Joy, who's coming to us from Ecuador, so she's approaching the winter solstice. She writes, "Thank you, Abigail, for such beautiful heart opening," with ART emphasized, soul rejoicing and spirit dancing messages, songs and healing melodies.
Oh, it is my pleasure and my honor. Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brother Phil, I'm going to bring you on. We're going to transition to the second part, but while I want to have Phil and Abigail on for a moment. Phil, anything you want to acknowledge Abigail for?
Well, I want to thank you for sharing all the various perspectives about this sacred day, as well as the beautiful message of oneness. Because that is the message. We are one.
Yes.
The hurt of one is a hurt of all. The honor, and the healing, respect of one is honor and healing, respect of all.
Mm.
That's what I felt coming through. That here we are all sharing together in this oneness, this time of the year, four times a year. We all share the same moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Grandfather. It's wonderful to be able to share this time with you, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. I will look forward to seeing you all again at the autumn equinox in a few.
We'll see you in 3 months. Namaste.
Namaste.
Brother Phil, she has just set the container for us so perfectly, and I now turn it over to you. And I also want to welcome everybody watching on World Unity Week, everybody watching on a lot of Facebook groups and pages. Come on in and join us and take it away, Brother Phil.
Yes. Well, Mitaki Epi, I want to give some context to what's unfolding that I believe has global implications. And then I'll just give a brief overview. Then I'm going to go to dear son, Chief Reuben George, as he has also some very important family commitments he has to get to, who will get a chance to even more deeply share what it's really like going on the ground as we went from place to place, meeting tribes and nations. And we'll conclude with my Toja, Donna Johns. I think she has an incredible story of really reflecting, I guess, in a short lifetime, what's happened across the Americas in the last 500 years and how she's gotten through that through her teachings of her sacred teachings, all her, and I'll give her a good introduction. She's achieved tremendous things from our beautiful relatives in the Yukon, the Carquois Sagish First Nation. Before the Europeans arrived in the Americas, in the Andes, even preceding the Inca Empire, from Tiwanaku, a great vision was given, which said, a great spiritual wintertime was going to become upon the Americas. As we did live in relative peace and harmony, as compared to the tremendous loss of life and battles and struggles, you know, going back to Genghis Khan, to Attila the Hun, to Caesar, to on and on and on and on. And so we are living here in relative peace and harmony. But the prophecy said, other relatives who were also beneath the sacred tree of life are destined to come. And we already had met the relatives from China, relatives from Africa had come here. Up north, we know that the Vikings came here, but we didn't understand what was going to come next. And of course, the world's round. There's no way around it. Human beings are very explorative. So this was all part of an overall incredible plan we're beginning to see the purpose of. And so it was. This incredible spiritual civilization, which at that time, really across the Americas, nowhere in the world had seen such spiritual development. Even among the high plains, when people try to compare us because we didn't have all these technologies and so forth, what's most important? We live together in unity and harmony. We use no substances to have to change our consciousness. We lived till our hundreds and died natural deaths. There was very rarely anything that goes on today, like disrespect of women, killing, wanton killing. Anyway, but all this is part of the process. And so the prophecies of Tiwanaku said, after 500 years, an eagle will come from the north. Now, how the condor and eagle connected way back, they would say, I'm not sure. But this prophecy was kept alive for hundreds of years. And as prophesied on March 21st, 1970, the eagle did come from the north and didn't even realize he was eagle coming from the north. And there was great celebrations because this happened. And for 16 months, the elders there, the Quechua Aymara elders from the Amazon, mentored the eagle about these prophecies. And then on July 9th, 1971 at Lake Titicaca, a contingent of Quechuas left La Paz about 3 a.m. in the morning and arrived at Cochabamba on the Bolivian side. We'd saved about $15 and we went across. And this had been about 400 years since these relatives had been to that place. And so we went, when we arrived at Island of the Sun, I'll never forget, they fell on the earth and kissed the earth because they knew the day had come for the rising. Like we're talking about humanity rising, the earth is rising. They saw that. And so we prayed at the Island of the Sun, all the holy places, and then went to the Island of the Moon. We prayed there. And then as the sun went down, they took me deep, deep into a almost forest, like, but underbrush. And I don't believe even to this day this has been discovered, but there sits there carved into solid stone the royal seat of the Incas. And we all sat there that night and we prayed. That's when I heard the rustling, like rustling leaves, like the locusts just before they take off and they kind of rub their wings together. You could feel it. And up there at 13,000 feet, the stars are just incredibly magnificent. And so there, and we'll share a video later at another time, but in 2019, when we began sharing this back to the relatives in Bolivia, sure enough, the elders of Tiwanaku sent a representative to Palenque, Mexico, when we gathered together the union of the condor, the quetzal, eagle, and the hummingbird from the 17th to the 22nd of March in Palenque, Mexico, Chiapas. And that prophecy promised this. It said when the condor and the eagle unified, that following that unification, all the indigenous peoples of the Americas would unify. The challenge was the relatives of Central America don't have condors and eagles. That's not their sacred bird. Nor do they have those in the Amazon. So the task began to unify the indigenous relatives in the Central America. And of course, at first we thought it would be the union of the condor and the boa or jaguar, but it merged so beautifully, the quetzal. Such a beautiful bird. And that's exactly where we were in Palenque, the home of the quetzal. And then, of course, if we begin, of course, I was with son Ruben there. We went into the Amazon to the 20 plus 20, 20 plus 12, Rio plus 20, Rio plus 20 gathering there in Brazil. And as well, got a chance to travel by plane into to see those relatives. Then emerged the hummingbird. So fast forward 52 years, exactly on March 21st, 2023, representatives from the Amazon, hummingbird, from the quetzal, Central American, that's where we were, from the condor, Bolivia and other places, and the eagle came together and formed the union of the condor Hummingbird, Quetzal, and Eagle, based in a covenant of guiding principles, principle of consultation, code of ethics, electoral processes that transcend partisan political politics. And we believe, without question, that together, with all those that support us, as it's just happened right as we speak in Montreal, the union was expanded greatly because they'd already planned through this dear brother, Brigadier Chief Dominic Rankin, they would have a gathering of the Condor, Quetzal, and Eagle. So now they're all together. We had 4 representatives of our council there. They've joined us. Many others are joining us. So we invite, and I will put into the chat, say that much into the chat because we have so important to hear from the voices of those who are right down seeing what's happening in our communities and giving their lives so these prophecies can come to manifest. Well, I'll put into the chat the foundation documents of what we're doing and where we're going. And I'm going to share this last part. The reason I'm here in the Midwest is because one of the sacred relatives tribes in the Amazon has entrusted me with 2,500 plants, not psychedelic, psychoactive, 2,000 plants unknown by Western science that can heal cancer, diabetes, you name it. And so we're here seeing if it's possible to truly make a partnership to bring these gifts to humanity so that our indigenous people are respected instead of taking everything and then all of it becoming medicine men of ayahuasca, etc. Anyway, I have the great pleasure to introduce my beloved son, Sundance Chief Reuben George. And you're going to get a chance to read his story. He's coming out, be released in end of August about his life. And, you know, if you see my son and I stand together, he looks like I could be lost. He's about that much taller than I am. And, you know, but he always is so kind and loving to his elders. I always want to thank you for that, son. But I'll tell you, he and part of his family, adopted his family many years ago. I knew his grandfather, Chief Dan George, of course, who we know very, very well. Of course, his beloved uncle, Leonard George, their sons, Justin, and so forth. So his beloved mother, all the family. And he has dedicated himself, truly. He's been through the journey. We've been many places together. So, son, on this day of the solstice, as we begin to celebrate the coming together of Indigenous people, please share what you would like to share. I always know I'm in for a good treat and upliftment. I love you so much, son. You are in the depths of my heart, always.
Happy Father's Day, Papa.
Happy Father's Day to you too, son.
When we travel together, I tease him and I do pranks on him. I won't say what they are because they're funny, but one time he got me. I pressed the button on his chair and just a cushion hit him in the head. And then he fell down and he rolled right outside of my car and it was raining. And I was like, jumped out and I was like, Papa, what are you doing? You okay? And I was picking him up and he's like, oh no, oh my head. Then he finally looked at me and he goes, I got you. So, he got me really good. But ACM, Hojka CM, CIA, Hojka CM, Skulutstan Snatis Lewitit. I put in the chat, my daughter, she's smart. She graduated at 15. She went to university at 16 and she got like 24 invitations of universities asking her to apply. And I was holding about a dozen of them, and I was looking at them and I was smiling. I was such a proud dad. And she's like 15 at that time. And she said, Dad, you know what's going to dictate the path of my life, right? And I was holding these letters and I was like, yeah. And she grabbed the letters and she put them down and she goes, it's our culture and our spirituality. And I started crying because I was already emotional. And I was like, that's right. That's right. And you know, she's been that way. She's 24 now. And both my kids incorporate, like what Papa taught us, is to incorporate the values of our culture and our spirituality into everything that we do. And she did that. She just got a close to $100,000 grant to make a 15-minute short movie. And she wrote it, she directed it, she produced it, and she acted in it. And I think part of the film is in the clip that I put in the chat, the Globe and Mail, which is the national syndicated news outlet. So it's a really big story on her and my sister and my mom, and so I'm super duper proud of her. I'm so happy to see that on Father's Day, and that's what Papa Phil Lane teaches us. You know, I've been running ceremony a couple times a week for the last 15 years. My family's been running the same ceremony for about 30 years. And Phil Lane and Lee Brown and Uncle Len, like he mentioned, they've been doing it for about 45 years. You know, we never ever charge anyone. I help, sometimes my sweat lodge will have around between 35 and 60 people a week. And that's really good. And you know, with what Papa would teach us, he goes, if I'm not teaching you to surpass me, then I'm failing. So that's how I teach my kids and my nephews, my nieces, and anybody who comes to the lodge. There's those fundamentals of humanity that are important. Love, honor, respect, dignity, pride, compassion, all those important things that create a good human being. And if you go to ceremony and those things aren't in the forefront, leave. You don't have to be there. You're not obligated to be in any ceremony where there's any harm being done, or if you feel it's not safe in any way. And you have that right. And so, you know, when it's talking about the prophecies, we're right in the beginning of it now. And I say, you know, we need a lot of healing, and I think these prophecies are going to force a lot of people into healing. The way I was taught is there's 4 levels of spiritual consciousness. So I do run a Sundance, and the idea behind the Sundance is that you achieve a higher state of spiritual consciousness that's experienced in heaven. There's no shortcuts about how to do that. You know, first we teach people smudge, pipe ceremonies, sweat lodges, vision quests. We teach all those things. Then when they're ready, they could come to Sundance, and you can't mess with that. You can't pretend it. You can't just try your being, and you learn to be a part of that. And when you achieve a higher state of spiritual consciousness, that's experienced the oneness of everything. So we do the ceremony, but the ceremony is important because what we want people to experience is the love of Creator. At that moment, I tell them, say, don't waste your opportunity to be in that oneness by dealing with your trauma. And it's quite evident as we look out our windows of our houses that our whole world's in trauma. And what it's really lacking is, I believe, is spirit, genuine spirit, not pretend spirit. Because like I said, you can't fake it to make it to that beautiful place of heaven. It's that sincerity of that love and that connection. And we have to identify some things along the way to help us to get there. Like, for example, everybody here, I believe, knows their love. Love is such a powerful thing. When 2 people come together, they form something between them, and that could be love. And every single culture everywhere around the world recognize that love, and they do a ceremony around it, and they call it marriage. That's a spirit of love. But in the same way, two people or one person can create a spirit of trauma. And I believe our world is in the middle of that trauma. And it's created by the spirit of greed with money. And like you look at things that society is set up to fix. That's mental, emotional, and physical trauma. I remember going to school and a therapist, and I remember going to school and they were teaching us how to be functional in a dysfunctional society, and they're leaving out something that's really important. You know, we talk about mental and physical, spiritual, emotional state of our being. But if you take spirit out of it, and that's what I'm talking about, that genuine spirit that you can't fool anyone with. You can't pretend. It has to be genuine and it has to be good. And so when you don't have that, things go backwards. And our world is going backwards. There's atmospheric rivers. Not long ago here in Canada, it dumped in less than a day, equal to 10 Mississippi rivers all across our land here, and created floods and cut off Vancouver from the rest of Canada because all the roads and bridges and trains and everything was washed out. We have fires in Alberta that are bigger than ever we've seen, like we've seen in Australia. We have floods happening everywhere and things are changing. In my short lifetime, 70% of mammals have died. What's left of that, 60% is livestock. 50% of the world's species have died. Everything's changing. And what I believe, it's that lack of connection to genuine spirit. Because if we did, we wouldn't make those choices. Like I teach my kids, you know, whatever they do in their life, and this is not just my kids, my nephews, my nieces, they do great work. They spoke about 5 times each at the United Nations. About 5 times each. They started traveling when they're 18 and talking about what I'm talking about. And they incorporate what I'm saying, what I did, into everything they do. In family therapy, I did that. I take any psychological lesson or teaching and I translate it to our own teachings. And in my environmental work, Tsleil-Waututh Nation, I'm the manager of that department that's stopping the Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline. We did a 1,200-page assessment, working with world-renowned scientists. We did a economic analysis, multiple, because the price per barrel fluctuates so much. Then we did a clean analysis and a spill analysis, but all this was based out of was Tsleil-Waututh Nation law, which is essentially the law of our culture and our spirituality. And we went to court against Canada and we sued them and we won. Then we appealed, they appealed, and they won, and we were denied Supreme Court. We're looking at international court, but that was based all on our law. But even in business, I never ever compromise ceremony, so I don't compromise what we do in business. And you know, we believe in green energy initiatives, and that's how we're moving forward. So if we look at the opposite and see what we're going through, that's a big lack of spirit. And the people that are making the bad choices are sacrificing other people's lives. At the Alberta tar sands where they're pulling out oil, that's the highest concentration rate of cancer for that community that live there. They tell me the common cold in your family is somebody who has cancer in mind. But what happens, I believe, is this, is like my daughter, you know, their Tulalip tribes offered to send our kids to private school. My son hated it, so we took him out. My daughter, she's pretty smart, so she did good, but they teach them different from at a very young age. They say in a public school, if you're really, really smart, you could be a doctor or a lawyer. But in those private schools, they're teaching them different. They're saying be rich and wealthy and a political leader like your parents. My daughter graduated at 15, and every single one of those kids she started school with, every single one of them, all 34 of them, took political science and business. Be rich and wealthy like your parents and run things like the government, like they do. But when you're in public school, they say, if you're smart, you could be a doctor or a lawyer. That's still not the decision makers of our country. So I think from a young age, we're told what we're capable of doing and what we could do, and we're put in a silo and we're put in a box. And there's many different silos. Police are in their own silo. Doctors are on their own silo. Construction workers are in their own silo. The rich and wealthy are in their own silo, and they're running things the way they see fit. And they're making the wrong decisions. So what happens along that way is like I said in the beginning, there's a spirit of love. But also there is a spirit of trauma. It could be like an open wound. And it just doesn't start all the time with our own. My buddy, he's a lawyer, he's the fireman for my sweat lodge, and he came to me and he said, I have a problem. All you guys are moving forward and you're being connected and you're moving forward in your ceremony, but why can't I? I said, how long has it been that you have not had ceremony in your life? Genuine spirit. He said, my whole life. I said, is that it? He goes, what do you mean? I said, what about your parents? He said, they didn't have spirit in their life too. I said, is that it? My grandparents didn't too. I said, that's trauma. That's spiritual trauma, that what I'm talking about, what our world's going through, because they're making the wrong decisions. Because if you had genuine spirit in your life, you wouldn't make those decisions. You'd make decisions like my kids are raised to move forward and to do something about it, to fix and love what takes care of us. Every one of you have I know, do a ceremony. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's Catholic, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever it is. My grandpa say, just be good at it. And if you're good at it, you're taking those fundamentals of humanity and you're doing good things with it. But what they also use, and I traveled all over the world and prayed everywhere to see different things, but they all use fire, earth, water, and sky in their ceremonies to help us to connect to spirit. I run a sweat lodge and I teach them how to make a fire, and the tree reaches up and catches the energy of the sun. The roots go into earth and get the energy of the earth, and they take in the water and they take carbon monoxide and change it into oxygen. That's like a human being. But you take all that energy and the wisdom that it carried and you light it on fire because they caught the energy of the sun. You release the energy of the sun onto those rocks and it heats them up. We start to understand those things and we start to gain and understand a reciprocal relationship to those things. But that's what you're doing when you're smudging. You got a shell to represent water. You got a feather to represent air. You got medicine to represent earth. You got a little flame to represent the energy of the sun. You put them all together, that's the 4 elements. And that's what I see every ceremony around the world. And then when you gain and grow a reciprocal relationship of spirit to something that has a spirit, because all these things I'm talking about have a spirit. That feather, that smudge, the abalone shell, all those things have spirit. And if you implore to it and let it help you, you're creating a bond between it. And get this, when you have that bundle and you light it with all those 4 things, using the abalone shell and feather and sage, and what comes out of it is a spirit with intention, a prayer. That's a spirit. And you ask for healing of it. You put your hands on it and you bless yourself with it. And what it does too is that smoke, it's here on earth, but you see it go away. And then it just goes away. But where it's going to is creating a bridge between here and earth and that spiritual realm of what I'm talking about, heaven. And that's where you send your prayers and your hurt and your pain, and you replace it with love, and you replace it with healing. You replace it with courage. You replace it and you put it on yourself. So in that process, we're learning to have a connection. To have a connection to those elements, and in turn, what I hope we move towards forward is having a connection to ourselves, to our own spirit. The same love that you could receive from somebody, you could give that same love to yourself, from your spirit to your mental, to your emotional, to your physical. Give yourself butterflies. Hold and love and embrace your spirit. And in turn, do the same with your ancestors, your angels. That's who you speak to. There's some ceremonies that go directly to heaven, but most ceremonies, when you start a ceremony, it's the ancestors that take your messages. This is what I believe, to heaven, to creator. And then if you do real special ceremony like a Sundance, you have a direct line communication to creator. And that's where we deal with that spirit of trauma. And our world is dealing with it. Because there's 4 levels of spiritual consciousness. And the most holy people we know are only at the top of the first level. And in our lifetime here, those levels are almost unexplored. But that's why we could always go to ceremony and try to deal with something to bring us closer and higher and better. I know I'm really happy that the people that I teach are surpassing me. My kids are surpassing me. My friends are surpassing me. And that's what they're supposed to do. And that's how I'm supposed to teach. And that's our goal. But when they do, they find their gift and they come and they bring it back and they share it and make our community stronger and better and happier and healthier. That's the goal. And we also come, what I was talking about, my lawyer friend, that spiritual trauma. That's like an open wound on your arm that needs stitches and a Band-Aid. And if it's not dealt with, it could be passed on for generation to generation to generation. In our way, we see 7 generations, but medically proven in studies, it's 3 generations that we take on some of the characteristics of some trauma that happened. But in ceremony, what we do is we close those wounds of trauma, because it's a spirit. People could come together and create that spirit of love, but people could come together and create a spirit of trauma. And we close those wounds so people could have some freedom. And what I mean by that, in my addictions, I've been 28 years sober, but in my addictions, I wasn't a good person. I was a hurtful, ugly person that was selfish around that. I had a relationship to that drug and alcohol spirit that's more important than anything else. So I hurt. And so I for a long time, I was a prisoner of that guilt until I closed those wounds and said sorry to the people that I hurt. Then I found freedom. But also, I was a prisoner of all those bad things that happened to me that put me in that addiction. Because that addiction was medicating that spirit of trauma that I went through when I was a kid, that I was a prisoner of it, that I was sad and hurt and in pain. But in ceremony, I closed those wounds and I found freedom. I found freedom. What I believe around these prophecies, these hard times are going to come. And we're going to be forced into doing, when we can't do anything else, we could pray. We could really pray. This morning, the National Chief of Canada was just here, just about half an hour before this. And, we talked just a little bit about the future of Canada. And what I'm going to do is say a prayer. Because at times, in the lowest of my life, when I sobered up and I had nothing, 20 years ago, I had nothing. And I had to start fresh from nothing. But what I did have was prayer. What I did have is prayer. And that's the sad thing I think about these prophecies. Right now, people think it's not my backyard, so I'm not worrying. The floods, the fires, but it's all coming. This isn't the new norm. This isn't the new normal. Things are going to get worse. And what we're going to have left is prayer. And I think people will come together collectively, because we don't have time to mess around with prayer or pretend or just try. We're going to have to be a prayer. We're going to have to include our spirit into the spirit of that prayer. We're going to have to include when we light the smudge and that smoke comes out of it, that has a spirit, but our spirit's going to be part of that. And it's going to create a prayer that comes out of that creates hope, that creates great things, that creates miracles, because that's what we're going to need. And the best miracle that we could do and we could create, I believe, is the miracle of healing ourselves, the miracle of being happy. We could move forward as a community, as a people. and make life better, at least in our circles, by healing ourselves.
Oh,
So I'm really happy to have this opportunity just to share a little bit. I'm sorry I do have to go, but I'm blessings to each and every one of you. Donna, I know some of the people up there in your territory in Carcross, Tracy Newman, good friend of mine, and you know, I've been up that way once, and it's such a beautiful place. Papa,
hi there, son.
happy Father's Day.
Thank you again,
Really,
son.
really
And-
good to see you. I'll come. Let me know when you coming back.
On Tuesday.
Okay, I'll come back Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and we'll have Father's Day stuff.
I just want to say that I really appreciate you demonstrating through your life how this prophecy is being fulfilled. All across the Americas, we find our relatives have been through tremendous, tremendous challenge. And I know, and Donna is going to share, she's been through it, you've been through it, I've been through it. But the fact is, despite the incredible things, what was most important to me today was all the good sharing of the point of a whole union, the point of what the prophecies are about. Thank you so much, son, and have a most beautiful day, most beautiful day. And give all my relatives my love and greetings. You know, and I'll tell you, I'm so happy again to have this dear brother Scott. You know, he's been doing this really good, giving us good support on this whole thing. So, brother, son, I can't wait for your book to come out.
August 29th.
August, and what's the title again? Is
It stops here.
It Stops Here.
You can pre-order now.
I got a chance to read a preview, and I'll tell you this: he doesn't pull any punches. I love you, son.
I love you too.
You know, Chief, we do a series called Authors That We Love. And
Yes.
so I would really enjoy on the next Authors That We Love show to feature you and your book. So I'll reach out to you about that, but I would really like to do that. And I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge you and your daughter. He did give us the link. I put it in the chat box. But here's the story that he was referencing about his beautiful 24-year-old daughter, who is a matriarch in training. I love that, at age 24, a matriarch in training. So thank you and congratulations. Happy Father's Day. You certainly have a lot to be proud of.
Same to you, Scott, and love and blessings to you all. Good to see you, Papa.
Good to see you, son.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
I love you all. Love you.
Yes, love you.
Phil, well, I know you have one other very special guest, so I'm going to let you introduce Donna.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, I'm so honored to introduce Donna Johns, whose traditional name is Guchtia Wolf Mother. Wolf Mother, and that's not any light name. And she also is directly descended from the Killer Whale Eagle clan, and she's Tlingit and Sagish First Nations from Carcross, Yukon. And on her mother's side, she's Cree from Alberta. And what she's accomplished, she's just graduating University of Alberta with a Bachelor of Arts in Recreation. But before that, she's a tremendous canoeer. And they won, in fact, she's a canoe leader for the community of Carcross, Tagish First Nation since 2019. They have a great canoe culture, and they actually won this big event against men, which I really liked. And I think that there's so much I could share about hers. They in the world's largest canoe kayak race, the Yukon River Quest, they placed first in the men's younger Voyager division in 2016. She is truly a reflection of our young people, and I say younger people as I'm almost 80 here, who are emerging from the Yukon or emerging everywhere, who've lived on the land, who've been educated by their children, by their grandparents, but also have faced tremendous challenge. And so I really felt it was so special, and I give you so much Thanksgiving that you're able to join us here, Toja, my niece. And again, I'm just thinking of how Clara is just having your grandmother's having a great big smile. So please share the journey and the vision of where we're moving to, and where maybe the journey it took for you, but what's your vision for the Yukon and the fulfillment of these prophecies? Aho.
Ganeshish, Lala, thank you for inviting me to speak today. I was deeply honored. All I can say about my journey is that my grandmother, Clara Schinkel, she's been working, like she's passed out of this world physically for quite a few years now. But all my life, she started training me since I was very little. My grandma was a great historian, and I used to work with her and the other elders and the heritage team for Cartcross Tagish First Nation. And we researched place names and stuff like that. My grandma was very instrumental in preserving a lot of the Yukon culture. I remember being, knee-high to a grasshopper, and she took me with her traveling all over the Yukon, all over Alaska, northern BC, and she had her little recorder in the cassette, and she recorded the elders, and she got their legends and the place names, and she did a lot to preserve our Tagish language. So I didn't realize that she was training me right from, I was like 4 years old, and she used to take me out collecting medicines, and she taught me about our songs, our dances, and she always made sure that I knew who I was, who I came from, my clan, the clan system. I am of the Ducklaweti Killer Whale clan, but we are also Eagle clan. So on the Alaska side, it equates to the Eagle clan, and yet Killer Whale, we are Killer Whale and Eagle. So I suppose where this is what I'm trying to lead to is like, okay, so all my life I've been able to get spirit messages from the spirit world in my dreams, and I astral travel, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing my whole life. As a kid, I didn't know, these dreams of flying, or I'd go to places, and then later on in the real world here, I'd see this, it would show up, or I'd be there and I'd be like, oh, I dreamt this, and I would know, I had been here before. Or I've also always been able to see spirits, and for myself, I'm actually in my recovery from addictions. I've had quite the journey. I've been going to, Sweat Lodge, and I just completed my first fast. I went out on the land 4 days and stuff. And I battled addiction for pretty much just about all my life. Residential schools came to the Yukon, and my great-grandmother went there. My great-grandparents went, and then my grandma Clara went. She went from the age of 6 to 16 and locked out like 10 years of her life. She didn't remember 10 years of her life there. It was that traumatic. And then my mom went only for a week. She ran away. But I myself didn't have to go to residential school, but, you know, all of the traumas still got passed on, you know, before my mother got her healing, you know, she raised us with the party around. So we had, you know, I seen like, you know, huge amounts of violence, extreme violence, like living in a war zone, you know. My mother and I were getting beaten on when I was in her womb, you know, I literally came out of her womb fighting. And then, you know, being raised around the party and stuff like that. So, you know, everything that goes with that: physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental, and then the spiritual loss. I didn't know ceremony until I started, you know, trying to go to get my healing at treatment centers. I went to 5 different treatment centers, and but you know, through all of that, I always had guidance from the spirit world. Throughout the hardest times in my life, I would get, you know, this animal totem spirit or that one. You know, I always dreamt about killer whales, humpback whales, grizzly bear. Grizzly bear always came to me at first in the beginning of my life. You know, I was always running away from that bear until, you know, one time he was going to catch me and eat me. So I finally turned around and I just faced it. And then he turned into like my best friend. Like he was rolling around like a puppy dog playing with me. And, you know, I never had a dream ever again about running from the bear spirit. Anyway, yeah, I've always had this ability, you know, I'll dream of, you know, babies coming. I'd have to say the toughest thing is foreseeing when people are going to die. That was one part of my journey that I still find very hard to reconcile. In the Yukon right now, we are currently going through a major opioid epidemic. Since the summer of 2020, I have now lost 49 people, close loved ones. And I mean, I don't mean acquaintances. There was a bunch of them too, but 49, I've lost my sisters, my brothers, my best friends, just so many. Not one of them was from COVID. They were all from drug overdoses, or alcohol addiction or cancer, but it was cancer from alcohol and drug use. There was a couple murders, some suicides, but most of them were from overdoses and alcohol, drugs and alcohol. When the summer of, when 2020 started, it was that winter, and just before, COVID was just starting to hit. I was on my 4th year at the University of Alberta, and I had a dream. I dreamt I was underneath this tree, and there was a couple like giant, I was underneath the tree in the roots, and there was couple giant caverns. My cousin Samantha, she's on my paddling team with the Yukon River Quest. She and I had our team we had 6 men and 2 of us on our team, for me and her, for girls, women, and that made us a men's team. So we won 1st place in the men's division, Yukon River Quest. But, you know, and then we won, you know, every year we usually place 1st or 2nd why I bring that up though is like, you know, like Samantha, she's my cousin. Her grandmother is my auntie Shirley Lindstrom, and Shirley Lindstrom is my grandma Clara's sister, and there was my Uncle Howard, their brother. So in my dream, I was underneath the roots of that tree, sitting, and my cousin Clayton and my cousin Samantha. There was 3 of us under the tree, and we were looking at our ancestors, who my grandma, my Auntie Shirley, and my Uncle Howard, and my Uncle Peter Johns was there too. You know, there's all the ancestors. They were sitting across from us, and they were worried about us. And it's like they give me a warning about how they were worried about us 3. And they were talking to us. And I woke up, and it was like 3, 4 in the morning. And I just sat right up, and I was like, I need to phone Clayton, right? I phoned Clayton right then and there. I said, you know, the ancestors are awake. They're worried about us. There's something coming. And I told him about that. I've had other various dreams. You know, I agree with what Ruben said about something big coming. I've seen it too. Like, even with losing 49 people since the summer of 2020, one night I had a dream that I was on like a big ferry or something, a big boat. And I looked up, and there was a huge wave, like the size of a mountain. And it was just about to come crashing down on us on the boat. And I seen my younger son, CJ, and the boat was about to flip, and my son was against the rails, and I was screaming at him, hold on, hold on. So I agree with Ruben. You know, I thought that, you know, losing 49 in a couple of years was tough. But there's something bigger coming. There's more coming. I've had other dreams too. I don't know how much time I've got here to talk, but I could probably keep you guys here for a while with these.
We do need to conclude by 12 noon and have
Okay,
a.
I'll keep her short then.
Thank
So
you.
what's funny though is after I had that dream, all of a sudden I kind of started seeing this tree of life stuff in different cultures and different stuff like that. And what's funny is my grandma, she was a Baha'i, and the way she keeps getting messages to me, like she'll come to me in my dreams and tell me stuff like constantly. But one day I was scrolling on Facebook because, you know, I'm stuck on Facebook. It's my one vice besides school. It's my break. I'm sitting there scrolling through Facebook, and here I see a picture of Abdu Baha, and I was like, that's weird because I don't have any Baha'i stuff on my Facebook. And then I had to look at the poster who had posted it, and it was Phil. And what he wrote about the tree of, or I saw his post about the tree of life later, and that made me comment because just before, it was December 26th this year, I think, I did a paint night, and I saw that they were going to do this tree of life painting. And based on my dream, I just wanted to do the painting because of the dream I had. So that's what this was. Now in the paint night, they did a skinny little tree, and I was like, no, I have to paint my dream. And then down here was like where we were in the cavern underneath what I seen. So anyway, I painted this, and then I had started following Phil's page after I saw that picture of Abdu Baha. And then later on, he posted a thing about the tree of life and this prophecy, and it blew me away. And I had to message him, and I did a little photo comment with that tree, what I painted. And I said, I had dreamed about this. And I told him about my ancestors and everybody being under there talking to us. And then we started messaging each other on the inbox. And that's where I was telling him, I said, my grandma, my Auntie Shirley was under there, Shirley Lindstrom. And he's like, Shirley Lindstrom? He's like, that's my sister. And I was like, what? And I was like, that's my auntie. And then I said, well, my grandma Clara was there too. And he's like, Clara Schinkel? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's my sister. He's like, you're my granddaughter then, you know, because they had adopted each other as brother and sister. And, you know, I was crying, Phil was crying, and it was just amazing to me that, you know, I think my grandma set us up to meet, because, yeah, I wasn't aware that this tree of life was a thing. I mean, around the world. Once I had that dream, I started seeing it everywhere. Now, what it ties in for me, what I think about the prophecy. Oh, I was Bill had asked me also in 1996. I was doing elder care in the Yukon. I had a dream then too. I dreamt I was walking down this alleyway with all these stone structures, and then I had seen two stone pyramids, and even in my dream I could feel how hot it was. And so I dreamt I was walking with my friend, and I told her, I said, let's go sit in that shade there. It's too hot, get out of the sun. And when we went and sat on these giant stone steps, I was looking at this big pyramid ahead of me. But in my dream, it was like shining really bright, sort of like when you shine a mirror in the sun, and it, it'll glare, the glare will blind you. And in my dream, I said, I need shades to look at that. And 4 years later, that was in 1996. So I believe it was in 2000, our dance group. Oh, I woke up and I said, before I woke up, I said, we're in Mexico. All right. And then so I woke up. And I sat up and I thought, what a dumb dream. Everybody knows that the pyramids are in Egypt, right? So anyway, 4 years later, our dance group that my grandma Claire had started, Tagish Nation Dancers, we fly down to Mexico. We go to Teotihuacan. And lo and behold, there's those pyramids that were in my dream. So our dance group and like hundreds of other people, I guess that's when, well, I know now, that's when the runners went from Alaska running down, and then the runners started down in South America, and then they all met there in Mexico at the pyramids. So anyway, we were all doing a grand entry, a big dancing in, and as we were walking down what they call the Alley of the Dead, I saw those little stone structures exactly like my dream. And then I was walking with my Auntie Tahira, my grandma Clara's daughter, youngest daughter, and it was really hot. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm like, we're from the Yukon, I'm going to have a heat stroke. And we got our big heavy button blankets on because up there our regalia is heavier, right? And I was like, let's go sit down in the shade on those steps. So we go to these giant stone steps, and there's just this little sliver of shade, and we're sitting there. And then I looked ahead of me and boom, it hit me. There's my dream. There's those pyramids. And I told Tahira, I said, oh my God, I said, I dreamt this. I said, the only thing is that pyramid, it was covered, and I said it was shiny, and we needed shades to look at it, But in real life, all I could see, it looked like gray stones. We found out later that when it had been excavated, it used to be covered with a layer of quartz. So as it got, unburied, people would loot them and sell it. So my dream actually was accurate. But I was going back thousands of years or hundreds, I don't know how many, way back in the past. I seen it the way it was shining in the sun many, many years ago, ancient. And then when we were dancing, our dance group was dancing there, we got to perform, and we wear these heavy button blankets with our crest on the back. And so my grandma was there, and on the back of her blanket, most of us had eagle crest on the back of the blankets. That shows our clan, that we're from Eagle Clan, and we are the Eagle of the North. We're from the Yukon. So when we were dancing, I think we were actually doing our eagle and crow dance, and all of a sudden the crowd started gasping and pointing up and looking and everything, and we didn't know we didn't know why they were all freaking out, but there was an eagle and a condor circling above our dance group as we danced. So it was interesting when I got to talk with Phil that he started talking to me about the eagle and the condor prophecy, and then the tree of life prophecy, and my dreams exactly. They always come true too. So, whether I like it or not, but this was the message that I was just wanted to share with you guys today. So thanks for giving it a listen.
Yes.
you so much for sharing. And I just want to acknowledge the unimaginable challenge of losing so many close friends and family to death at all, let alone that particular epidemic going through this planet of ours. So bless you, Donna. Bless you on your journey. And I acknowledge you come out the other side and you are a beautiful inspiration for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And Takaja, we've lost so many, so many of most of my cousins are gone because of the same thing. But the thing that gives me such hope in these stories, because they're unfolding, is that despite all this past 500 years that our human family's gone through, and I think at this point we have to know that we all came, the prior unity of a human family, that this time, it's really time to listen to each other's stories, to realize that we are one human family and that our indigenous people have gifts to give. And that's exactly what's happening with the union of the condor, hummingbird, quetzal, and eagle. And I really thank you, Brother Scott. Yeah, but I'm closing my eyes. I thought you'd be there. Anyway, just thank you. So there you are. God bless you. You're a good man. You're a good human being. And that's what the most is important. All the stuff we acquire, material things like this, that, you don't see somebody come with a dump truck and put it in your grave. All we've got is a little piece of ground, or even if we get cremated, we only have a little bit of ashes. But that's not who we are. We are something so much further than greater than that. Sovereignty's ancient and perishable and everlasting. And this is the time of the awakening. And so I thank you, Takoja, for sharing, and all this is weaved together, because your story is the story of indigenous people. Ruben's story, your brother's story is the same story. The story of how we've gone through, and the story of humanity, by the way, gone through the most horrendous things, and yet we're rising. That's our choice, really. We can either rise or we can fall down. I'd rather rise, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about you. I'd rather smell the roses and be in a nice, beautiful place than be in hell.
Absolutely.
My own hell, by the way. That's some physical. I'm talking about my own hell I can make for myself. Love you.
I want to, Dorina Joy just posted this beautiful image. And I think it's her way of acknowledging Donna's story and what you're sharing, Phil. What a beautiful, beautiful image, and a reminder that there are forces at work,
yes,
above and beyond our imagining.
Absolutely. 100,000 million%. And that world of dreams is real. Real. I mean, we have many dreamers, and I like my beloved Takoja, that people just don't yet have heard, but they will, as we're all dreamers.
One of my absolute favorite dreamers is Omashar.
Oh, Omashar. Okay.
Music.
Hey, Phil. Thank you so much. And hey, Donna, thank you so much. I feel your heart. And holy smoke, there are no words for your story, but I know that those of us who've gone through such, let's say, hell, can, as we emerge, reach back and help those who are coming out of their own hell, because we have the road in us. And having experienced some hell in my life and having emerged from it, and the courage that I hear in you, Donna, and Phil, and Ruben, holy smoke, is brilliant. And I have a little song now. I guess this is the close, Scott.
This is it. This is closing song with Omashar.
Coming to the close, and this is called Homeward Call. And so it's about our ancestors calling us home to the heart within ourselves. And Aho and Phil, I love you so much, brother.
Love you, brother.
I know we haven't met in person, but dude, I know you. So there it is. All right. There we go. And we're ready.
Let's go to gallery view one last time for the day, for the evening, for Sacred Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for dancing. Roger and Bonnie and Adoran, Eleanor Joy, and your beloved Connie, Lynn Leaf, everybody, Christy Michaels, Olivia. Thank you so much for all of your dancing and your movement. And of course, thank you, beloved brother Omashar, for the wonderful ways that you contribute to our show.
You're welcome, and please join me in about 3 hours' time for my World Unity Week concert, and that's 3 p.m. Pacific, through 6 p.m. Eastern time, and that's in Joy Fueled Hearts Convergence Room with Becky Suzik.
Okay, so everybody, and we didn't get a chance to do that today, but a reminder, if you haven't already, please right now, as soon as we disconnect, go to worldunityweek.org, worldunityweek.org, click register, it's free, and then you're going to immediately get the access to the schedule. And in 3 hours, we want to be with Omashar for his incredible experience. And then a reminder, there will not be a traditional Awakening World show next Wednesday night, but instead we are again directing everybody to the free concert that our beloved Christian Hoffman will be putting on. So Omashar in 3 hours, Christian Hoffman on Wednesday night. And between now and then, there's a whole lot of good stuff going on.
There's a whole lot of shaking going on at World Unity Week, and it's 24/7 because it's people all over the world. So it's amazing. Each year it gets exponentially bigger and juicier and more professional. So
it's quite amazing. And a big thanks to beloved brother Chief Phil Lane for putting this show together. And my gosh, Abigail did such a great job at the beginning of the show.
phenomenal.
Thank you, everybody. And remember, we can make any moment sacred by choosing to see the divinity in all. I'll look forward to seeing you at Omashar's concert in 3 hours. We'll see you then.
Namaste.
Namaskar.